How are you dealing with this?
Yeah, it's been a long, I mean, a long struggle. The hardest part probably was that bit being quiet at the beginning, not knowing what to do, discovering, and then realising that I'd left her there going through all this and hadn't done anything. Once I started campaigning, you know, you don't know what works. I don't know. Really, she's still in prison, but at least I know I'm doing my best, and she knows I'm doing my best. And that's pretty important.
And I've often heard you speak about how you feel that it's very important that Gabriella is there for Nazanin, and it must make her feel that she still has some control over her life, she's able to look after her. But what's that like for you? You've had to sacrifice being a father.
Yeah, well, it's gone from being sort of a real dad to a phone dad. And, you know, yeah, I mean, and of course Gabriella's 3, so like any 3-year-old on the phone, if you're not interesting enough, she'll walk off and do something else, thanks. Yes. So yeah, and of course she, you know, she was a little chubby toddler that was sort of all mischievous, and now she's an Iranian girl that we can't speak very easily with each other.
She speaks Iranian?
She speaks Farsi, yes. No, of course, she still knows who Daddy is. Yeah. Of course, for her, you know, she goes to nursery now, and she knows what other children have, and they have a mummy and daddy that pick them up from the nursery, and she doesn't. And she knew at some point in the park, so we'd meet mums in the park, so where's your mummy? Or she's in prison, she'd say. And then she learned that, you know, her grandmother would get mortified by that. So then she learnt to, you know, that's a taboo, and to say, oh, she's in another place, and so on.
So what is the situation then with Nazanin now? I mean, we're getting conflicting reports. I mean, I've read in the paper that potentially she could be in prison for another 16 years. Potentially she could be out within months. I mean, what is the situation?
Completely conflicting, yeah, so that's exactly right. On the one hand, so she was sentenced to 5 years, and she is eligible for early release, having done a third of that already. She was taken for a medical assessment to say, listen, she's not fit to be in prison because of various health issues. At the same time, she's being taken to court again following the Foreign Secretary's comments for potentially another 16 years, potentially less.
And what is her mental state at the moment?
I mean, she's up and down. So sometimes she's kind of okay, sometimes she's awful. It's just like tears the whole way through.
And what's that like for you after that phone call when she's in a state and there's nothing you can do?
Well, I mean, that's right. So she's looking to me for support and to be reassured that it'll all be okay, and that's my job. But obviously, if she's just, you know, crying the entire time and you know, asking what the government's doing, and you know, and what can I offer?
But what do you do when you put the phone down?
It depends what's happened, in truth. So sometimes it's just sort of a quiet feeling at her. Yeah. Sometimes if something's happened, there's a way in which also there's, you know, being real husband and just listening and not being able to solve it, wanting to solve it, but just not being able. But there's also in which sort of being a campaign husband, which is trying to get the information to try and do something with it. And there's a tension between those two. So, you know, sometimes she'll just want me to listen, but I'll be, OK, but just, you know, can I go back to this detail? What exactly happened? You know, she's just